Alright guys, Jigsaw0097 here today, making a different kind of video. This one pertains to the recent cancellation of Andrew Tate, which I'm sure you guys have just been all aghast to hear about. It's been rolling around in the news cycle for the last several days. Many famous commentators have already commented on this, but I have actually been thinking about the topic of the manosphere and MGTOW for quite a while. And I think that this is a perfect segue and or example for me to extrapolate on that point. And so, yeah, basically Andrew Tate, he was removed from all of the mainline social media platforms, that being YouTube, Facebook, / Instagram, soon to be Meta, I guess, and then Twitter and TikTok as well. So basically, guys, he was Alex Jonesed and Donald Trumped. Just completely removed. This is always the worst kinds of censorship because essentially then the media can just go and make up whatever they want about you. But what a surprise, am I right? And why was he removed, guys? What was the big offense that got him banned from all major platforms? Well, as most things these days, the truth is more than just skin deep, but it most certainly involves one of the biggest topics in the 21st century, and that, of course, is the state of modern women and the media's active attempts to censor any kind of objective discussion about it. Alright guys, real quick, just going to use this opportunity to shill my other platforms. You can find all my links on my Linktree page. The main pages I'm going to be using other than YouTube are going to be Minds, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, and Truth Social. So if you guys want to give me a follow over on those other platforms, I'd really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So as you guys probably know, over the last 5 or 6 years, the manosphere, or MGTOW, stands for Men Going Their Own Way. It's really picked up a lot of movement in the last 6 years, and obviously it is very neo-reactionary in the sense that it is a response to what modern feminism has become. And in this video, I'm going to discuss my thoughts on why I think that MGTOW has a real chance of becoming just as bad as feminism. But before we get into that, I just want to get into this Guardian article real quick, and it is titled "Dangerous Misogynist Andrew Tate Booted from Instagram and Facebook." Link in the description if you guys want to check that out. Basically it just goes on to say that Tate was a former kickboxer and he prominently rose to prominence after starring in and then being removed from the TV series Big Brother in 2016. And I guess the reason that he was removed was because he was misogynist, or whatever that means these days, as you'll see here. It goes on to quote, "Since then, he has garnered backlash for his posts across social media, which domestic abuse charities have called extreme misogyny. He stated on Twitter in 2017 that women belong in the home and that R-word victims bear responsibility for their attack, after which Twitter permanently banned him from the platform." And then, like I said, the article just continues on basically to call him a misogynist and a conspiracy theorist and, you know, the blah, 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 the usual buzz terms, which I don't really feel like I need to fully cover in this video. The video is not really meant to be about Andrew Tate, and like I said, you can read the article if you're so inclined. And then also there's the fact that this is just yet another example of big tech censoring somebody, but it's another thing that I'm not going to get too much into just for the focuses of this video. And this just goes on to say that while I may not agree with a lot of Tate's views on women, as you guys will see, it's kind of the main point of this video. Just to give a disclaimer, I've been following the manosphere for probably 2 or 3 years now. It started with Rollo Tomassi when I heard about his Rational Male books, which are highly recommended if you guys have never read those. And then last year I found Kevin Samuels, the late Kevin Samuels, unfortunately. Rest in peace, brother. And he was just really, really great to watch. Because I think that the value of the manosphere is that it is shining a light on what modern feminism, and really just feminism as a whole. A lot of people talk about feminism from the 1960s, but we all know it goes way farther back than that. But MGTOW and the manosphere does really good at shining a light on on the dangers of feminism and specifically toxic femininity, as feminists like to throw around the term toxic masculinity, but we never look at toxic femininity. And so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things about Andrew Tate. Like, I don't really know a lot about him, to be quite honest. I never really followed him, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the advice he gives is just, be a man, take responsibility for your actions. But then he also criticizes women, and that's probably the real reason why he was removed. But that being said, the real point of this video is that I think that MGTOW and I think that the manosphere has a lot of potential to become just as bad as modern feminism. I don't want to say worse than modern feminism, because at this point, with the transgender movement and the sexualizing of children, I'm not quite sure how much worse it could get for feminists at this point. However, the biggest problem that I see with the manosphere is that it is teaching men to be just as promiscuous as feminism teaches women to be promiscuous. And one of the big theories of this is obviously Rollo Tomasi's spinning plates theory, if you guys have heard of that. I'm sure you have if you're watching this video. Essentially, all it means is that men should go out and sleep with as many women as possible, and spin plates. Go out and get experience and use game and techniques and charm. These obviously work. There's like whole videos dedicated to game theory and tapping into women's emotional nature. I mean, these do work, but I think the big problem that I'm seeing in the manosphere these days is that it's just teaching men to go out and have pointless sex, just like feminism has done for women, instead of encouraging them to go out and look for a possible future mate. And I know that this is a very tradcon view. That's what manosphere likes to call people like me. It's very tradcon view of wanting to have a wife and kids, or what do they call it, 2.5 kids. But really, I just see it's going to cause the same problems as feminism. In my opinion, it's just going to create more feminists, because the men are going to go out and sleep with women. There's studies that have been done that women cannot handle promiscuous behaviors as much as men, although it is very bad for men too in the long run. It's just men have a lot more time to figure these things out, whereas women kind of have like 10 years basically to figure most of this out. And if they don't figure it out, and or they rack up too high of a body count, it's almost done for them. There's a term called the 1,000-cock stare. I definitely think it's pertinent to a lot of modern women, because they get to a point where you just look at them and it's like that line in Halloween. It's like the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And so I guess my main criticism of it is a lot of men nowadays, especially in MGTOW, they complain about things like OnlyFans and Instagram models and all that stuff. But if men are also just doing the same thing as women, because basically it's this guys. Men are very visual. This is why pornography is such a dopamine hit for us. But women are very responsive to attention. So women right now are basically getting the same dopamine hits that men get from porn through the use of things like OnlyFans and Instagram, because they're getting lots and lots of male attention from simps and whatever. But a lot of these women, it's not going to help them in the long run if you just keep sleeping with them. I think that the best way for men to actually reject this degeneracy going on into society is to stop having sex with women altogether. I know that sounds, again, very tradcon. Like, what are we supposed to do if we don't have sex? Well, part of being a man, guys, at least in my view, is having self-control. And so if you can't have self-control when it comes to your sexual urge, then again, like I said, you're just creating more of the problem. You're just going to go out and you're going to, spin plates and rack up your body count just like women do. And then it's just going to create more and more feminists. I'm of the belief that you should never even consider sleeping with a woman unless you're going to be serious about it. And again, it's very contrary to a lot of the views nowadays. Very tradcon, very Christian view of it. But I just see that as really the only way out of this mess. And I might make a video about this. I've been mulling it over, you know, like what stage of cancer is society in, right? Are we in stage 1 where we can still chemotherapy it, or are we in stage 4 where essentially we just have to let it kill us? Um, and so maybe this advice is just going to fall on deaf ears. Probably very Jordan Peterson-like of me to even say this. And who knows if this video will even be able to stay on YouTube at this point, but I just think that's the key to it, guys. Better yourself, go to the gym, you know. You don't have to just respect women either. I'm definitely not advocating for that. Like if women are not behaving properly, which a lot of them are not nowadays, you don't have to treat them well. But also you got to remember too that for as many guys out there that are annoyed by this situation, there's a lot of girls out there that are annoyed by this situation as well. And if you're like an Andrew Tate or a Rollo Tomasi, the chances of you finding that kind of woman are going to be a lot lower than if you know, go to church, you know, get fit, work on yourself, work on improving your skills, you know, build a community, you know, plant a garden. I don't know, learn something interesting other than just criticizing women all day. So anyway, guys, that's really all I have to say with this video. But if you guys agree with me, disagree with me, that's fine. Just leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. But as always, guys, this has been Jigsaw0097. I will talk to you all later.